Welcome.
Welcome.
It's Jenny Winny and the Average Dude, the weekly LinkedIn Live virtual broadcast.
Podcast.
It's my favorite time of the week, Jenny.
Is it?
I love this.
You should.
I absolutely love it.
I understand why.
Why?
You get to be with your cousin.
Yeah. Oh, you changed your name
all week anyway.
Say again.
I said not like we don't talk all week anyway.
Exactly.
You get the obligatory phone call as I drive home from Spartanburg.
Yeah. Making your way back home to Shelby. That's a tough drive.
Yeah, it is not what I call fun.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know if I told you. I might have. I don't know if I shared this last week, but last week when I got on 85,
yeah,
and I saw all that black. I told you that truck was on fire. It was.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I had to get off. I was on the phone with you. I was like, Daniel, I gotta go. I think I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always scares me though, because the roads. Let's face it, it's a dangerous situation.
It's a death trap.
It's a death trap, and that whole I-85 corridor between just geography. Today's about geography. We need to go ahead and start sharing where we are.
Yeah.
In the South, Charlotte, North Carolina. You've probably heard of big city, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And then Atlanta, that's southern, and then we're kind of right in the middle. That 85, and Jenny Winny, she's right there in that Shelby.
I'm right there outside of Charlotte. Actually, I'm pretty close to Charlotte. But let me just say this: that 85, you know what? When they start putting up those barriers, the little they're building extra lanes, and I'm sorry, 2 lanes, and this concrete wall's not made for me and the tractor trailer.
No, you can't squeeze Jenny Winny and her big old vehicle and that other vehicle in there like that. No.
It makes me very anxious.
Yeah.
I gun it. When I get right next to him, I'm like, zoom. I'm gonna die before I die.
You got to floor it.
Mm-hmm. And
go ahead. Go.
Speaking of death, Jerry Springer died.
Jerry Springer died. Mm-hmm. Wow. Did you ever watch Jerry Springer?
I don't know. I'd rather not say. If
Go ahead. Remember, honesty is the best policy, Jenny. We're keeping it. When you watched it.
When I was but a young lad. No, when I was younger, I thought, he's like a really I thought he was a serious talk show. You know what I mean? I thought
you did. You thought it was in-depth journalism.
I did.
Wow.
I was like, it's not.
Yeah.
Because what was he, mayor? Governor or something?
I don't know. I think he was a politician, but now his thing was always the fisticuffs. He's gonna have a very volatile situation. Some type of familial dysfunction, if you will.
Yep.
and then he's gonna kind of fan the flames of that emotion and dysfunction, and then we're gonna have a nice little, Then what was the guy that would come out and break up the fights, right?
I mean, he just walks out like he's just behind.
Yeah, when he's got armed officers behind him, he can walk in there like hey, you people calm down.
But you know what? They wanted that. They wanted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now he did. I think he put on an entertaining show, and I think, hey, it wasn't Donahue, right? Remember Donahue?
Yeah, Phil. I like to call him Phil.
I didn't realize y'all were a first name basis.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah. So, wasn't me a good talk show. But speaking of doing things a little bit differently, I did want to kind of rewind. Of course, last week we had Eric Ryan, America's Sweetheart, on, right? And I learned a lot from it. What did you learn last week, Jenny? Just give me something that we can take from last week, and we're going to pull it into this week, putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I know. I see that. Really, with him, it's like anything goes.
Anything goes.
And it was fun. Didn't have to stick to a certain script or whatever, and everybody enjoyed it. That's
right. The problem, the pressure is never flow, right? I'm like, well, maybe it is, but in this analogy, it's not.
Right.
But pressure to feel like you've got to stay on a certain path, it kind of keeps it boring. I mean, Jerry Springer wasn't trying to be like every other talk show, right? I mean, and so I think that when I become aware of that, when we're doing something like this, it gives me a little bit more, it doesn't have to be, okay, we're going to do this, then we're going to do that. And he asked you the question about, he kind of took over the conversation. I love that. And some people might say, hey, this is my show. And of course,
no, I'm like, please ask the question.
Please, I don't know any creative questions to ask you. Go ahead. No, but I think I do. I want to incorporate those sorts of spontaneous questions. And one of the other things, you remember what I said about the worry? You remember the worry?
Oh yeah, my face.
Yeah. Yeah. When I see the worry right in this vicinity right here, I know Jenny's got something on her mind. And we have to expose that.
Yeah,
right?
Daniel has informed me that he sees my face doesn't lie. Is basically what he said. Yeah. And so sometimes I don't realize my face is making a face, and he's like, "You got to say whatever's in that head. Like if you're thinking, hey, I don't know what to say, or I don't know the answer to that, or I don't know, hey, just say it."
Yes, and if you've got I would so much rather hear a dumb question. A dumb question is so much better than a predictable question, right? If it's a predictable question, we know what the answer is too.
Yes.
Now that we put all this pressure on ourselves, how are we going to? We're going to have to keep it free flowing and fun now because
you've honestly, when I first did a few episodes with you in the beginning,
yes,
I was so nervous that I was going to embarrass you because
that happens daily now.
Yeah. I don't care if I embarrass you now, but LinkedIn, I was like, oh, it's this professional platform.
Yes,
professional people, and I'm kind of like, I'll do whatever I want to do. And then I was like, yes, that's very interesting. And and you were like, no, Jenny, just ask it. I was like, what's a prop plane?
I do want to kind of incorporate a little bit of some things from Toastmasters. We're going to ask Raquel, our first guest, about Toastmasters, but ingratiate. I just learned that word. I've never used that word, but that happens a lot, don't we? You go into a new pond, you want all the fish to like you, right? Yep. And so you start saying, hey, how do these fish want me to swim? And you swim like those fish. And we do that. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So you come into the LinkedIn pond and you say, how do all these LinkedIn fish act? And like, you think, little did you know that we have people like our first guest, the queen of goofiness herself.
Well, see, that spoke to my heart.
Yes.
I'm a little bit goofy.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that, so as we scour the internet of things, right? We look for unique people with good energy, people that make us smile, people that make us laugh. And I think we've got that today, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I think we do.
Oh, let me tell you something real quick, too.
Yeah.
Joe's not on here, but.
And we miss you, Joe. We really do.
Yes.
Especially the comments, because it helps.
We love the comments. Freddie, Don, we do. But he had sent you a link. He sent me to Matthew McConaughey was doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Living.
Wasn't that cool? I saw. What did you take from it? Sorry to.
Oh man, it was good. I know I told you the one thing that he had like Tony Robbins and some others on there, and he's just over there playing his bongo drums,
Yeah. He's so cool.
Oh, he was so cool. But the thing is that it was like focus, and I know we've had a guest that has even said this before, but focus on where you want to get. Focus on the goal. He said, like you're going whitewater rafting, and if you're the one in charge, you don't say, look out for that rock, because then they're like looking at the rock. They're going to go towards the rock. You say, hey, we're going to paddle towards the right. Don't even tell them about the obstacle. So quit focusing on those things. You know what I mean? And
I like that.
I do too.
Now, wait a minute. I always say 10 minutes in the beginning. We're getting ready to go overtime. But I've got to say this.
Say it.
Just the way that these sorts of things are, like the different ways to look at things. So my dad was talking about the Titanic. And he said with the iceberg, if they hadn't done anything, if they hadn't tried to miss this iceberg, they'd have hit it head on and it would have split and they probably wouldn't have had any issues.
Right.
Have you ever heard that before?
Your dad, he is my uncle.
Yeah.
But He's extremely smart. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're not going to bring him up anymore. He's making everything confusing. We're going with Matthew McConaughey because
McConaughey, yeah, let's just do that.
He said to not focus on the iceberg and just to say
actually, it wasn't him. It was somebody else. But they all had really good. And it was actually Tony Robbins that was saying how he learned that, and it's focus on the end goal and put yourself in proximity of where you need to be. And that's why we're doing this.
Proximity to great people is great things. Association. All right, we've talked enough. Let's invite our guest in and see what she has to say about some of these things. Okay. How about that? Our first guest, Raquel Borras. Hello.
Borras.
I like to joke around because I have a 22-year-old son and my daughter's almost 19, and their friends would say "bore ass."
Yeah,
and I used to say I'm neither a bore and I'm neither an ass.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to think of those things, and I'm not.
Yeah, hey, I like it. That helps with it. You're not a bore, you're not an ass, but you are bore ass, right?
Yes.
I got it.
I had no idea that this was a family affair.
Yes.
You guys were
cousins. Yeah.
That's where the Jenny Winny came from.
Yeah.
My middle name is Lynn. Yeah, and his mom was always like Jenny Lenny, and Daniel would always say Jenny Winny, and that was it.
Yeah. So we grew up next door to each other, so I had to like a little cousin sister type situation. I don't know. Yeah. But Raquel, you are all the way out in San Diego, California.
I am, which I have to say. So I did a video on LinkedIn 2 days ago, and it was like at 10 o'clock, and I had just rolled out of bed, hadn't showered, ball cap on, no makeup on. I was like totally in a funk. Like it took everything in me to get out of bed. And today I got out of bed at 7, actually showered, put on makeup. I'm doing this from the office, not from my bedroom.
I love it.
This is a big deal.
Not from the bed. You're not like.
No, like I don't got like crispy things. Like this is huge.
Yeah, well, you know what? I watched that video. Since you brought it up, I got to talk about it now, right? But we all three of us have kind of what I would say these high energy personalities, right?
Yeah.
And we don't always feel like being high energy. Sometimes you feel this pressure, and that's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you don't, what do you do?
I have that moment. I'm like, why did I just have that moment? I just ruined. I was not on brand. Like I totally just tarnished my brand in that video.
You're like, wait a minute, that's not how she normally is. Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. So when's the last time you did something fun in San Diego? That's one of the things. I've been out to San Diego. Went out there, been many years ago, but I love that area. It's fantastic, and there's all sorts of cool things.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm not only just in San Diego, I'm in La Jolla, which is like absolutely, like, I think it's one of the most beautiful cities in the entire country. If anything, I think it is the most beautiful city, San Diego.
There you go.
Wait a minute. Have you been to Shelby? Okay, clearly you haven't. Continue on.
I was like, I've never heard of it.
Shelby's actually a place.
I was going to say, I've been to Charlotte.
It's fine. I digress. Go ahead. Yeah.
But no, it's all good. I was just saying that I'm really blessed that I live in La Jolla, 10 minutes from the ocean. I get to, when I have my moments, I'll go drive down there and just walk on the beach on the sunset and, watch the sunset.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I am very, very grateful to be living in such a beautiful place. Granted, I live with my mom.
Yeah.
I have to say that because when people are like, ooh, you live in La Jolla, I was like, yes, with my mother.
Okay. Well, hey.
A home.
However you get there, right?
With my assistant.
Well, I'm gonna
I might be a soon-to-be 48-year-old woman living with my mom, but I'm in La Jolla, so.
Me and you are just like peas and carrots, okay? I have a daughter. She's 19. I just turned 49, though, so.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so you're just a year older than me. It's all good. You still look like you're 35, so.
Yeah.
Y'all both look fantastic. How about that?
Okay, Daniel. Thank you.
So I wouldn't have known La Jolla. That must be people must know that this is a nice area, right?
People come from all around the world to come to see La Jolla.
Oh, that's cool. But now let me ask you something. What do y'all like better? Do you like the sunrise or the sunset better? What gives you that?
That's easy for me, a sunset. I'm not a morning person. I don't remember the last time I actually saw a sunrise, but I love a sunset. Like for me, a sunset means that I could be like on the beach with a glass of wine, like
the day's over.
Yeah, like sunrise. I'm like with it's just not as glamorous.
Daniel's out there in the sunrise.
For me to have a sunrise, it's the sunset.
I like the sunrise. Come on now, you get
I got up and I saw the sun.
Then you and I are never going on a date.
Oh, come on. That was the next question. So this
compatible. That's
that's it. It'll never work. I'm up and she's in bed, and she's up and she's having a glass of wine on the beach. And I'm in bed. It's not gonna work.
We'll be like 2:06 in the night.
Yeah,
okay. So now we got to decide if we got to determine how honest Raquel's going to be with us. Did you like Jerry Springer? Did you watch Jerry Springer? Were you a Jerry Springer fan?
I clearly knew it was a joke. I was at least like that's aware as a child, but it was like a typical train wreck. You just can't look away, and so I would get sucked in, drawn into the shows at times.
Oh
yeah.
I was a stay-at-home mom, and they had all those really bad shows and Judge Judy.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
What was it, Sally Jesse Raphael with her
the glasses.
It was so bad, but you got sucked in. It's
you were just like
mom with just like the kids sleeping.
I know you're like the kids taking a nap. It's time.
The soap operas. Oh yeah, I watched all that really good TV when I was a mom.
Yeah. Does that make us feel better about our own life when we don't have nearly as much dysfunction?
Yes.
I think
that's why I love to watch Real Housewives and all these really crappy reality TV, because it actually makes me feel better about my life.
I'm living large.
I'm really normal. This is fantastic.
So why do you call yourself the queen of goofiness?
Because just my entire life I've been called a dork and a goofball and and so I just finally just owned it.
Yeah.
And then I was so sick of everybody CEO, vice president, all these titles. I have to admit, I know a lot of people on this platform, and what they have on their headlines is the kind of embellished. You know what I mean? Where I'm just
hey, right over here, embellished for sure.
Yeah, the average dude.
Average dude, Daniel. That's really embellished.
Really average, wow, that's really tooting your own.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal.
I was you're I'm really a big deal.
Yeah.
So I was just screw it. I'm a goofball, and I want people, when they come to my profile, to just kind of right away with the queen of goofiness have an idea of who I am. And I feel like that's what it does. It just automatically tells people hey, I ain't no serious chick on this LinkedIn.
There you go.
It disarms people. It disarms people so they don't feel to me, that puts you at ease. When I see that, I'm like, okay, my people.
Yeah. So that's why I did it. I don't take myself seriously at all.
Yeah. So that makes me think. So I'm a big Toastmaster. I say a big Toastmaster. I go to Toastmaster. Are you familiar with Toastmasters?
I am very familiar. Yes. I got invited as a guest to one of them where they want you to, and I was just yeah, public speaking.
But you're a great public speaker. But I digress. What I want to say.
We were doing Toastmasters.
Yeah. So they have that thing where they do table topics, right? So they will ask you a question and you have to speak extemporaneously, for 1 to 2 minutes about it. It's kind of like the beauty contestant, right? But there you go. She's got the wave down. But the reason that I thought about this is y'all are, this morning, some of the questions that they were asking, we want to give these answers. They said, I'll just tell you what the question was, right? They said, if you went into a florist and you were going to put 3 flowers together to give to somebody, what would those 3 flowers be? And I don't know any flowers, right? I mean, I thought of all I could think, but my point is,
people trying to get deep, I would take this because it means this.
Right.
Not me. I'd be I'd take a red flower.
We want to, what's the word again?
Ingratiate.
We want to ingratiate. We want people to accept us. So we think that we have to say, so I was all nervous, like, oh, please don't call on me with that question because I wouldn't have known 3 flowers. And then we feel bad because we don't know things, right?
Yeah, I was actually on a show. I was doing my live show yesterday. So I do a live every week with women in the mortgage industry. And one of the women, the women, she was telling me about a Girl Scout who's 9 years old, and she started this new patch that said like raise your hand or something, because she noticed as a 9-year-old girl that in the classroom only boys were raising their hands. Like they didn't care if they got the answer wrong, but she noticed that the girls wouldn't raise their hand because they were embarrassed that if they had got the answer wrong, they were just like mortified. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the fact that already at that age, like they're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to embarrass myself if I don't sound serious or I don't have the right answer? So it's like how we all, and I said, I'm 47. I still have that issue. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it doesn't really ever go away.
Well, that's why I love to beat on that drum. And I love to keep bringing it up and kind of, because when we feel trapped trying to say the right things, trying to say it in the right way, then it actually takes away from whatever we're trying to say. Right.
Yeah, that's why I love that you guys were saying that. It's like just keeping it the flow and not having any kind of script or path. Like when I get asked to be a guest and they're like, oh, do you need the questions? I'm like, please, no, don't send me anything. Like, I don't want to know anything. Like, just get me on. Like, even with my own guests, they want to have a pre-call. I was like, no, there's no pre-call, because then everything that I want to talk to you about is going to be on that pre-call. And then on the live,
and then it's not authentic.
Yeah. So I love it when it's like, there's no topic, there's no nothing. Like, just come on and talk. That's when I shine.
Yeah, I can feel that. I had that vibe about you, and so I'm glad that you were ready to roll with the punches. That being said, we get curious about people, and when we ask a question, when we're genuinely curious, it changes its dynamic completely. So I am curious. So I know you do a couple of different lives. I know you do one, you said, with the mortgage industry, but you also do one where you're interviewing kids, right? You've mentioned kids twice.
Yeah, so that's not live because it is kids, and kids do say the darndest thing. So it's recorded on Zoom, and then I'll because most of the time the parents aren't in the room when I'm talking to their child. So then I'll send them a video. I'll send them the video and be like, hey, do you approve it? And then they sign a release form and everything, because there's been just maybe 2 times where I've had a parent say, hey, can you edit that out? Because the kid was like a little too honest about something.
Mommy and daddy shut the door and they're fighting, and I hear them arguing.
One of them talked about a neighbor who was in jail or something, things where we're like, maybe we don't want to share.
Grandma's in jail again.
Otherwise, like, the parents are pretty cool about having the kid just, speak their truth in that moment. So yeah, that I do, and it's recorded, and then the live show. But I love live. Like, I think it's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And so where do these ideas come from? How did you decide I want to start doing a live? How did you start deciding to develop an online situation? Where did all that originate?
I mean, honestly, it originated with LinkedIn, where I was a stay-at-home mom, got divorced at age 37, had never had a career before that. So I would literally started from the bottom. Now I'm here, I was a receptionist, had a builder, was slowly working my way up. And at that time, I wasn't on Facebook anymore, because with my divorce, I was like, screw Facebook. I don't need anybody to be in my business. Yep. So I deleted my account. Instagram was just starting, and this was in 2014. So I got on LinkedIn 2014. It's because I kept getting all these emails like, join my LinkedIn network. I'm like, what the hell is LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Yeah. What? And so I was like, let me try this thing out. And then I was like, you know what? It's professional. I'm trying to kind of get into this corporate world. Maybe it's the best thing for me. So I just got on it, and I started studying. I was telling people, I literally would just scroll through and see what was going on. And mind you, in 2014, LinkedIn was a completely different platform than it is now. So different. I loved having been part of the evolution, if you will.
Yeah.
It started with LinkedIn, where I was just naturally just doing stuff on there. So I think it's also kind of cool that my journey was just so organic, because a lot of people during COVID came on LinkedIn with intention, right? Like, they're like, I gotta get on here. Everybody's doing it. I got to do something online. And so it was like, people were trying to hack the system. tagging everyone and their mother, engagement pods. Like it was done in a way where people were like, "Ooh, I gotta like win this thing," right? Where when for me, it was literally just like a day by day natural.
Like, I'm here. Yeah.
To be where I'm at. Like I'm actually kind of like I have my moments where I'm proud of myself that I was consistent, that I just kept doing it, that I never gave up, that I just kept, trying to like build relationships on this platform. So so for me, like just this journey of it all has been like life-changing for me, to be honest.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's actually fantastic. And
Yeah.
and it continues to develop, and it's actually taken you to meet a lot of the people that you talk to on LinkedIn and that you interact with, right? Don't you do a good bit of traveling and see these folks in person?
Yeah, I travel, so I let people know. And now that I'm in San Diego, it's awesome because so many people come here for conferences. Like,
Sure, yeah.
already I've seen. It's funny. I've actually met people here in San Diego that are from where I lived in the DMV area, but I never met them there. It would took them to come here to a conference. And even today, I'm meeting one of my LinkedIn connections. He had seen my video.
Yeah.
And we had been connected for years, but he like reached out, was like, "Thank you for that video." And I'm going to be in San Diego. It turns out he's going to be literally like down the street from me at the hotel. He's here we're going to meet up for a quick drink tonight.
Nice.
All the time. Like, I'm like, and I'll show up in a baseball cap. I don't care. But I did a video on LinkedIn too, where I was like, if you ever come to San Diego and I have to find out through social media, hunt you down, because that has happened. Like I'll be on my Instagram, like Alex Sheridan, he was here, and I was like, "Dude, what?" He goes, "I'm so busy." I'm like, "Fine," but I was like so pissed because I was like,
but it only took 1 second.
Yeah, like I saw you on freaking Instagram. Like at least let me know. So everybody now is like messaging me. I'm going to be in town, in 3 months. Like everybody cares that I'm going to hunt them down, because I will. If you,
I'm going to fly over San Diego. Okay.
I will. Yeah. And Jenny doesn't know Alex. I know who Alex is. He's a talented guy. He does the rap and does the cool videos. And
so he and I have had many conversations, and we've and then like Travis Lackner, he's great. He came into town and he's having a huge LinkedIn thing in Denver. I'm going to fly out there for that in June. Leah Turner's flying out from England for it. Luke Matthews is rumored to maybe be there. Jonathan Palmer's flying in. Like that's what's really cool. There's this like kind of like LinkedIn. There's like that
the LinkedIn stars.
Like celebrities. I want to be a part of that. So I got my ticket and I'm going out there in June in Denver.
Awesome.
So. Well, the first question to ask the gentleman that you're meeting for a drink later, you need to ask him if he likes the sunrise or sunset, because that's a deal breaker right there. I mean, you need to find out right away, where does he stand?
Yeah.
I know, right? That should be like just the first question off the bat whenever I do or anything.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
No, so you deal in mortgages? I know that I'm going off, but I'm trying to understand. Like you said,
people are so confused with what I do.
Well, you said you started off, I was a reception, because I did the same thing. I got divorced in my 30s and that kind of thing. Yeah. And so it's like you said you started off as a receptionist. So take us.
So I worked with a builder, and then I started their customer service department, all this stuff. And then I ended up on the mortgage side. Mm-hmm. So I ended up on the mortgage side doing stuff with builders for them. And then that was what was really cool, is that within the companies I worked for, they always created a role for me. So like every job that I've ever had essentially was created for me, because whoever hired me or knew my strengths. They could like pinpoint them right away. And they're like, "You'd be really good doing this." So I started out like a client relations manager, and then I ended up doing multicultural lending, meaning that I'm Hispanic and I speak fluent Spanish. So then I went on that kind of path. So then I was known as kind of like multicultural lending chick. And then from there, just posting on LinkedIn and having a social media presence, then they changed my role, and they're like, "You know what? You have a brand. We need our brand to be out there." So now I was the face of a new mortgage division. And then that's how the branding piece of it came in, and social media, because I was getting paid to do that. Right? Yeah. So, and then now that's what I do. So now I work for a mortgage company, a national mortgage company, New American Funding. and I head up all their social media and marketing and branding in the San Diego region. So I'm the one that gets to do all the fun reels and create the content with the loan officers. And so I have a blast. But what is the beauty of it with where I work is that they understand that I came in with a brand.
Right.
So I was very adamant of like, hey, I worked really hard to get to where I'm at with my brand. You know, I'm not going to let that go. And they were kind of like, no, we get it. Like, that's what appeals.
That's why they want you. Yeah.
So I'm super blessed that I'm able to do stuff like this. They're not like calling me up being like, what the hell? You were on a live at 8:30 on a, you know, Wednesday, whatever day it is. Like,
no, but there's so many benefits though. Yeah. I hear, you know, doing this sort of thing, we've talked about it a lot. I mean, communication skills, you know, speaking extemporaneously, having conversations with people. Mm-hmm. Most business at some point in the transaction involves a conversation, right? So the better we are at having conversations with people and finding out, being human, I would say, it's a good thing. So this is sharpening the axe. I mean, you know, if whatever business we're in, whether it's selling at a boutique, doing reels like Jenny Winny does, selling mortgages, selling HVAC like I do, we're going to have conversations with people. And so I think that it's great to meet people and to learn about people. And then we're ready to have a business conversation too.
Yes. So yeah, then let's talk business. I can't stand when like, it's just business, you know. Fun.
Yeah.
I had one guy, and I do kind of feel badly. It was during COVID. It was a young guy, like in his early 20s. He reached out, and I don't know, I forget what he was selling, but you know, I try to be nice and I try to give people time because you never know. You never know where the conversation is going to go. Sometimes the ones that I think are going to be horrible are the best ones, and the ones where I'm so excited to talk to, and then they're like fuddy duds. I was like, yeah, you're nothing like you are online.
I did not think so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those. But this guy in particular, he gets on and he's like, all right, can I just, you know, show you the presentation? I was like, whoa. And I was like, whoever your name is, I was like
simmer down.
I'm going to give you some advice. Like, don't just start right away with your pitch. Like, you have to have that like conversation, like asking, like building that, you know, kind of like, are the mutual interest? Like it's
a relationship we're developing.
So it was more of like, I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to be like a biatch and like, I
was going to ask you that.
Yeah, he was appreciative by the end of the conversation. He's like, thank you so much. Cause you could tell like, he just didn't know what he was doing. And I think he appreciated that I was like being honest with him because I felt really badly because I was like, dude, you're not going to get anywhere if this is how you approach people.
Nope. Doesn't it make it so much harder? It would have been harder to give that pitch when you don't have any connection with this person whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, everything sounds mechanical from that point forward. It's just.
Yeah, but you know what? Years from now,
painful.
When he's rocking it, he's going to be like, I remember one of the first times.
Yeah, he'll tell that story.
Thankfully, he'll be on Jenny Winny and the Average Dude. He'll be like, there was this lady. She was not very nice. But
and that's a beautiful point, Jenny. I think everything that happens can turn into a story. I mean, 9 times out of 10, when I'm talking, I'm telling a story of something that just happened, you know, and it's typically something deprecating because those are the lessons learned, right?
It's that stand out in our
life. I mean, I don't know how many times I can tell the story of falling down in the 50-yard dash, though. I mean,
how old were you?
I was in elementary school, and I was the fastest kid in the school. And I really wore that proudly, that blue ribbon. That was a big deal for me. And there was the new kid. I can't help but kind of go into story mode when I'm telling that. But
Jerry Cantrell.
Jerry Cantrell. Thank you, Jenny Winny. She's heard it before. And halfway down the track, I realized this kid's faster than me. I've got a problem, you know? And so I tell the story kind of, you know, what am I going to do? Am I going to finish the race running full speed, or will I fall and fake an injury? And I fell and faked an injury. so you didn't want to lose, you know? So you take the story.
Really inappropriate, but
what's that?
When I said you were a faker, I was going to be really inappropriate.
Go ahead.
We can't date.
There you go. Well, that got me a little red there.
Sorry, You know what?
I feel like I need to leave.
Oh, Lord.
Sorry.
I'll just put this.
What's in that coffee, Rock?
Wait a second. I'll put this up for our guest last week.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you do have something that, like, basically is like, shh.
No, this was for Eric, America's sweetheart, last week.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, "Oh, am I not supposed to say that?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm just letting the audience know that you said a really bad.
You said a wordy word.
You said a really bad word."
Yeah. So here's what I thought we would do this week. We've got another guest backstage, but I want to leave Raquel on because we're going to talk about brand, and you've developed your kind of personal brand, and we're going to bring this next guest in, and he knows a little bit about brand as well. You're going to help us interview as well. Remember the Tonight Show? Ooh wee! So are you up for that?
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. You know how like any talk show, how they'll leave the guest on there, and then they come out, and Harrison Ford's sitting there, and he starts talking to Ariana Grande or something. You know what I mean? It's just like that. It just makes it. It just.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Okay, now who's got the first question and who wants to do the introduction? Because that's a tough part.
I'm gonna tell you. Look, is it Frazier? Okay.
So
I'll introduce him. And our next guest
from Seinfeld.
There you go, G. You got it. Go.
Wait a minute. Not Frazier from Seinfeld.
No, but I know it's not him, but it's like that's how you pronounce it, no? Frazier?
Luke, I'm gonna let you answer that. You're coming on. Okay, my friend.
There he is.
My goodness. I feel like we need to get down to business, guys. Start right now,
Frazier
please.
or Frazier? Which one?
Frazier was from Cheers.
Oh, Frazier.
Or the show Frazier.
Kramer, sorry. Oh my gosh, Kramer.
You said Seinfeld, I was like, Kramer?
Sorry, it's early, okay?
My hair is not as crazy, okay?
Yeah.
Mine is.
Wow,
Hey,
what a party.
did you feed the chickens this morning, Luke?
I didn't have to. They're on an auto feeder.
They're on an auto feeder.
Yeah, it's actually at my father-in-law's place, and they got those things on an auto feeder. He's a smart guy.
Oh, that's cool. See, I learned we learn about people through their content, don't we? So I would have thought Luke. He's a cool dude. I've talked to Luke before. But he does a video yesterday. And I see all these farm animals running around, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm thinking Austin, Texas.
Don't strike me as a farmer, Luke.
I am like.
It's the hair.
Yeah. Well, so I was a podcaster barber for a handful of my life, turned brand strategist, and I don't mind hanging out with goats and chickens. I married into that, and to the point last year we had 10 golden retriever puppies. I feel like I've just done it all now.
Wow.
And I've got a baby on the way. And so we're just we got what else? I mean, elephants, I don't know.
Doolittle.
Dr. Doolittle. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I think it's cool. I've always wanted to be, I thought it would be cool. You'd think me being in the, I probably sound like I have farm animals. No farm animals.
Yeah.
You sound like a farmer.
I know. I got this, I'm from the Northeast. I live in Austin, and I'm the only one that doesn't have a Southern accent, well.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. You said something. You said you were a podcast barber?
Yeah.
Well, they sort of happened at the same time. I was the reason I got into brand way back in 10, 12 years ago. I got into podcasting and was just figuring things out and building websites and building podcasts and interviewing all these entrepreneurs. And at the same time, I had graduated college and I was had some marketing degree that was useless and knew I didn't want to do it. But I was also learning. I had cut my own hair and learned how to cut my own. I have 8 siblings, and so I was learning how to cut people's hair.
Siblings.
Yeah. Wow. I have no trauma. And,
congratulations!
It's a miracle.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have to please anybody. I was like, screw this, and I had actually interviewed a local barber owner in Philadelphia. He has like one of the biggest salons in Philly. Like they've been in all these awards. I interviewed him as a business owner. 3 months later, he calls me out of the blue. He's like, "Hey, we have a chair. Would you want it?" I didn't have my license. I didn't have anything. And I was like, dude, I don't want to do anything else. So I'm going to keep doing podcasts, building websites, and I'll barber because it's fun. And I get to talk with people.
That's
And
cool.
I was a Toastmaster too a handful of years ago. And so it actually, I used it like to, craft. I enjoyed that, but I used it to learn how people think.
Yeah.
And I always admired psychology and therapy, but I never wanted to spend, thousands of dollars and 4 years losing my life. No shame to anybody who did.
Yeah.
So I got real people in my chair and, practiced it there and learned how to, kind of authentically share who I was through my own pain and successes. And, along the way, did a bunch of other stuff, was in the nonprofit world and mental health, and was always doing podcasts, always building websites, always getting into some kind of graphic or logo creative. And so that's what turned into my company today.
Well, a barber chair and a barber, this is a great time to do exactly
my gosh.
It's conversations, right?
It's therapy, especially for dudes. Like guys just do not do well stereotypically with like processing stuff.
Really?
And I have yeah, really. ladies, any thoughts on that?
Sure.
I've never heard that.
And so, please take notes.
Okay.
And so,
why I'm single.
Are we? Yeah, I think we just started therapy right now. This is and I didn't grow up in a household where that, like my whole story is that my dad didn't tell me that he loved me until I was like 22 because I asked him to. And again, no trauma there, but this is like the real story for a lot of men. And so, so that chair became this place where like I could ask any question in the world and they would just start talking. And I learned how to ask open-ended questions and would ask some more. And then they leave with a feeling really good about themselves because they look good. And then feeling emotionally good because it was like they didn't know they needed to process something. They ended up doing it.
Or just unloading that baggage that they've been having in there. They just, it's like, and then they feel it's weird because somehow they feel secure confiding in you.
Yes. Well, there's a sense of trust built too.
Yes.
There was all these studies I had read about early on about someone touching your head. I mean, ladies, I can imagine too going, I know my wife, like she picking a stylist is like, it's like getting married again. It's like trying to figure out I don't know if I'm gonna do well with this, this person. Like I got to test them out. And it's, you spend hundreds of dollars on your hair every year.
Yep.
And so it takes a huge level of trust. And I think I, learned that from interviewing people, learned that from, barbering. And it's so true now that I'm in brand and brand strategy with companies. The reason behind building a brand, and Raquel, you could probably attest to this, is like you have to get real with people. No one wants a fake brand. We can smell that a million miles away. And so when we talk to companies about building a brand, I take all of these like assets I feel like I've acquired from talking to people and going through mental health stuff, and you realize a brand is just a group of people. And how do we take all of those personalities and kind of squeeze out the best of them and like understand the worst and then show the world that and say, this is actually what matters. And people in today's climate need more of that.
Yeah.
Turns out.
How do you
like that? I want to dive into that more, but you've talked to a lot of people, dude.
Sorry, average dude. Jenny, Winny has a question.
Okay, go.
I mean, I was question. He's like, let's dive deeper into
Aren't
that.
cousins the worst?
Cousins are the worst, but I can imagine 8 siblings. We got to find out where you fall in the oldest to youngest. But Jenny, go ahead.
Number 3, Jenny, your turn.
Thank you. So anyway, now this was actually for you, and I want to say it right. You say Raquel or Raquel?
Raquel, Rock.
Rock.
I'm gonna do it. Rock. I like Rock.
Rock the show.
But you know what? When you were talking about developing your brand, okay, and I think even you posted something, Luke, about like people pleasing and like
just today.
Yeah. Okay. See, I read that anyway because it spoke to me too, because I'm just like, I do that. But when you're building your brand, how do you let go of that? Really just, I don't care. Everybody's not going to like you. We learned that last week. America's Sweetheart was on. He's like, listen, everybody's not going to like you. But when you are a pleaser, it's like, you're like, oh, that one person that does, please like me. You know, how do you let that go?
Yeah. Rock, you had some good thoughts about this a little bit earlier. What are you thinking?
I mean, for me, it was a process. I mean, to be honest, a lot of it was trusting my community. That's why for me, it's so important when I'm on LinkedIn to connect with the right people and like-minded people, because they have created this like safe space for me. So when I shared about my struggle with clinical depression and attempting suicide when I was at UCLA on LinkedIn, only on LinkedIn 4 years ago, the amount of support and love that I got received was amazing. And that's when I realized that I could be vulnerable. Yes. And then when I shared my video 2 days ago, where I literally hadn't showered, you know, no makeup, no filter, no whatever, just in the moments here, and I was struggling, same thing, the support, I trusted everybody. So I think people forget that too, where it's not just like throwing yourself out there. It's like having that level of trust and respect for the people that are receiving that as well. So like, even like Luke said, if you're not going to be who you are, they're going to see that. And the trust is not going to be there. But once you are who you are and you feel like it's okay, then I think that's where you're like, screw it at this point. Like, and there's something so empowering about it, especially as a female, I will say, to be able to be on camera, no makeup, no filters, no nothing, be in the rawest that you can be, and like put it out there and have people accept it, and people say that, oh, you're you know, this and you're that. Like, it's really empowering.
Yeah.
Like, it does something for you and your confidence and just who you are as a human.
But you accept you. You accept you.
That's why I encourage people, like, just be you. You'd be so surprised how many people do accept you. Yeah, they're the ones, the haters, but like, to be honest, I really don't have trolls or haters. And some people say, oh, that means that you're not stirring the pot enough, or you're not whatever. You know what I mean? But I was like, I really don't. People ask me what I do with that. I'm like, I really don't get that, because I think I'm so just true to who I am that nobody can really criticize that.
Listen,
I mean, hey, like,
you know what? It's like, Rock, I'm not stirring the pot at all. I have a women's clothing store, and I've got some trolls and some haters, and they're just like, but you know what? All I can say is that it has made my followers grow exponentially. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you know what? Somebody says something negative. Daniel's like, now, last night he's giving me this pep talk. Now you're going to, because you know what? The reels have created business. I am who I am. They all know I'm going to be who I am. I am. I'm not like, you know, I'm not trying to pretend like I'm this model, or, you know, I'm a business owner. I'm just trying to show you my stuff. And they say all these things, and Daniel's like, now, are you really going to do that? Do you really believe that? Daniel's being my little therapist last night. So
yeah, I should have let Luke do it, because he sounds like he's got this head wrapped around. But you're talking about this mask off. We're talking about being authentic. We wear these social masks. We want people. My word, it just keeps coming up, right? We want people to we want people to accept us and like us. So when we are able to take that mask off, and we're not wearing a mask, and figuratively and literally with the makeup, right? You don't have a mask on. This is me, and you're accepted. Then that's the authentic, real you that's being accepted and appreciated. I think that's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, and I think it is important to know just that everyone is on a journey. I think the idea of building a brand has become so glorified that we forget that we're just people on a journey trying to figure a bunch of stuff out. And we all have different traumas and experiences and things that hurt us, helped us, whatever. And everyone is on that journey to figure that out. And I think if we can be the ones to extend grace to ourselves as we're extending grace to others through that process, everyone actually gets to win. Because if we kind of come at this whole idea, whether it's personal, whether it's corporate, B2B, B2C, whatever, if we kind of come at this brand building thing, like, I've got to go sell something, I've got to go, even if someone's telling you you should build your brand, which is like, it's not a bad thing, but like, if the intention is to get more popular, you're probably going to end up losing. But if the intention is to say, I don't really care what you think, this is who I am, this is what I believe in, this is how I got here and where I want to go. To Rock's point, the right people, if you begin to build those relationships, will build you up. And the right people are always out there. And I know 4 people right here, if you're watching, who will build you up, no matter what you believe in, what you say, I couldn't care less. For instance, like, I love Jesus. Not many other people do. I'm going to love you no matter what.
Right.
Right. I don't really care what else, what other people believe or don't believe, but I just want people to know. And I hope other people hold me accountable to it. Like, I want to build a brand where I can go on and say, man, sometimes I feel like I need to share something to make other people like me.
Yes.
And then sometimes I'm just going to go on there and tell you how it is, because I'm also, but that's just me. Like, I'm a little bit of an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Amen, brother.
Like, my wife has to deal with that. But oh well.
No.
Yeah, right. So, but again, I have a trusted space. Like, and I do have I've got great people here on LinkedIn, but I've got good people who back me up that other people don't hear about.
Right.
And they just, like, I message them or they message me or I call them, because I am a flawed person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty messed up. But that's also a part of this brand building thing. This is so wild and people don't always think about it, but you've got to go through some of those hard things that you've endured, and you've got to process them. Do it in private first. Do it with a trusted individual. Do it with a therapist. Do it with whoever. It doesn't really matter, but someone who can see you for who you really are.
Do it with your barber.
Do it with your barber. Do it with your stylist. But someone who can just speak life into you. And I think that's just really important, because then from that place, it's like, oh, hey guys, this is who I am. This is what, these are the stories that I like to tell. These are the things that I like to be and go do. And that's the fullness of a brand.
Yes.
It's okay. I like when people niche down on certain topics and ideas. And I think people should. I think you got to get specific. You kind of got to stay in a certain aim or vision when it comes to building a brand individually or corporately. But at the same time, let your flaws stand out as victories.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They're almost like assets.
Yeah.
They really are. Because honestly, even with people that I have dealt with and everything, once they get to know me, because I'm who I am, they're like, you're not who I thought you were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're like, you're a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, kind of messed up. We're all
kind of messed up, just like you. It's
a human being thing that really brings us together. I mean, I will say,
no, go ahead. Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Your turn.
Well, I was just gonna say that I also tell a lot of people it's in those moments that you share, like, things that you are like really scared to share. Like when I shared about my clinical depression and suicide attempt, I had kept that secret. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody knew. Even people, my friends, like sorority sisters that I was like going to school with at UCLA, had no idea. Like, it was crazy. But it changed the trajectory of my life, because in that moment I realized, crap, this is actually my story. Like,
yes,
I was hiding it and I wasn't sharing it. And now I speak of mental health. Now I talk to kids and I feel like a kinship with my kids because of my struggles. And then I realized that, like, oh my gosh, like, had I not ever shared it, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys having this conversation.
Good. It's what made you. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's why I tell people, like, you never know what those moments or those things that you share, how it's going to literally bring certain people into your life. It's going to propel you on this path that you could have never imagined. And I think that's like super exciting and something that like a lot of people are scared of. I'm like, no, embrace it. Like, that's what makes life so cool.
It's like having that vulnerability to show that my daughter, the one that's 19, she she suffered with OCD extremely bad.
Oh, I had major OCD.
And so, but she embraced it. Like, people, and we wrote a little children's book about it. She went and we talked, and people were like, I can't believe, all these adults were like, wow, but she was just like, it is who I am. Now that she's funny and quirky and whatever, but that's why, you know what I mean? And it's like, and I'm going to show my book, Daniel.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I was like,
look at that.
It.
Maggie's friend Otis, and see, there's Otis. Otis is actually OCD. And so when I homeschooled her after it got so bad. And I said, draw a picture of OCD. So she drew this cute little thing and she named him Otis Chung Daniel.
That is brilliant. Oh my
Wow.
God, Jenny. That's what's so cool is that like I had never met Luke. I had never met you. You know, Daniel and I had a conversation on my way to Tucson. I think I pulled over because I had to pee. I was like, yo, let me call you back because I'm like about to be at my
I go to the bathroom.
Yeah. And but like as I'm sitting here, once again, like it's not a coincidence, right? Like I'm reaching out to each of you individually when I get off of this thing. But like that's like once again, you just don't know. And
when y'all sit there and talk about mental health, I'm so big about mental health calls.
I want to talk to your daughter. I want to connect with your daughter.
She does it. She's a TikTok. TikTok is her
queen.
Is her LinkedIn, and but she really embraces it, and it's amazing though to me. We launched this right when COVID started, but we were talking to groups of women and teachers and counselors and stuff, but the people that related to her, she just was like, they were like, I can't believe that you're so out with this. And she's like, because it is who I am. I mean, it is. Right. She embraces that stuff. So, I mean,
that's right.
Yeah.
What people need to hear about all of this is that our purpose carries, or our pain carries purpose. Mm-hmm. Right. And we I will die on that hill all day long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if anyone's out there struggling and trying to figure out, well, I don't know what my brand is, or I don't even know who I am, maybe, or you're a group as a company, it's like, well, lean into the pieces that actually feel the most uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Those quirks, those funky things, the things, I got bullied as a young kid, even by my siblings, for writing, for speaking, for, my dad even made fun of me for talking too much. Mm-hmm. And yet here I literally make money doing all of that.
Right.
And so there's you have to balance this thing. But if the more you lean into it, and you go to Toastmasters, go to all these things, go read all the books, go talk to all these people, talk to any of us. But the reality is when you can process through that pain, it transforms into radical purpose, because purpose that isn't tied to some pain in this world is kind of useless.
Yeah.
Make money, go do it. Please be profitable, but do it for the reason other than.
That's what I always say. Do it. That's what I preach to my kids. I'm like, do it for the right reasons. When you do it for the right reasons, it works out.
Yeah.
Whether it's profitable or whatever. Yeah. Maggie's whole intent was, she said, if I can help one person feel better,
help the person right in front of you.
Yeah.
Help the person. And if you're wondering, hey, what's this key secret to building a brand? Yeah. Help the person right in front of you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Be of value to the person right in front of you. I've never met. I want to call you the Rock. I feel like.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually what.
Can you smell what the Rock is cooking? I don't know. She may not even cook.
No, I mean, I've really never met any of you, but the reality is you guys carry this authentic energy about you. That's this is just more. It's more than this is just who I am. It's actually. This is who I am, scars and all, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And we can rally behind that, and now we have common connection.
Exactly.
And that's really what people need, especially in the business world, man. It's just you were right earlier. We are too quick to get down to business and just make do the pitches, and I got to do just build a relationship first.
Yep.
Just build a relationship.
Conversation. Get to know the person.
Yeah. Break the narrative and just break the norm. And
yeah.
Luke, is this your first time being a dad?
Yeah. So we miscarried twice last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so this has been a part of our journey too. It's just we miscarried twice. We just lost my mother-in-law 2 months ago.
Oh.
And we're on the cusp of this our first child that we've made it through this pregnancy, where my wife's 30 weeks and and so it's this beautiful tension of we've had to mourn all this loss and this grieving and find hope and love in the midst of it. And, I feel very blessed, and we've been praying over this baby fervently, and I'm just really excited, but I'm also, Rock, I'm holy crap, I'm in charge. This thing's going to come out, and we're going to go home, and it's on us. So there's a balance in that.
Luke,
Yeah, but already like the self-awareness and
Yeah.
you're gonna be such a good dad. Like
yes,
so
that's the thing is
excited.
I love like just getting to know you a little bit and then saying that you're gonna be a father. Like
Yeah.
I'm like that child is so blessed to have, you and your wife, because that I think that is the reason why a lot of like what's happening in this world is that there's like this disconnect between adults and their kids, and
it is.
like and this is something I want to do a TEDx talk about at some point is we have to parent differently now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Parenting is not this what it was. It's
Yeah.
evolved. We have to change the way we parent. And I feel like you're going to be that parent. Like maybe I feel like Jenny's the same way. I'm the same way, where I have a great relationship with my kids. Why? Because I'm vulnerable. I'm open. I
Yeah,
share my
exactly.
faults. I'm not perfect. Hey, I'm trying my best. And they appreciate and they respect that I'm not trying to control them. I'm not trying to tell them what's right and wrong. Like I'm just trying to like have them be good human beings.
Have them be good human beings. And
Yes.
it's like, my son, he is 26, and actually, it hadn't been too long ago. He called and he's like, I'm so sorry. He said, I was so awful. He said, you were being a good mom. And I was like, you're so right.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Like, I'm so sorry, Mom, that I was such a dick. Excuse me.
Yeah, that he said a jackass.
I was such a dick. I should tell you that I love you more often.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yeah.
But you know what? It is like, Luke, you know what? When you take that baby home, I know when we took my son home, I cried. I cried because I was like, I don't think I can keep him alive. You know what I mean? I did. When I changed his clothes for the first time and his head didn't bobble everywhere, I called my mom. I was like, look, guess what? His head's still on his body. So, and then actually, I had 2 miscarriages. I understand that pain. It is it's a terrible pain. It's a loss, and it's real. And then I had my daughter, Maggie, and it's just like, so, I mean, it's just like such a blessing. It really is. It's something that, and to know that you wanted that baby so much, you know what I mean? That's just like, I think like you're saying too, Rock, is that to me, it's like almost like the kids now are parenting the parents. You know what I mean? They're in control. The parents have lost kind of somewhat control, and something needs to go back to the way things used to kind of parent, Yeah.
There's one of my friends, they recently had their second kid, and I was talking to him. He actually runs a great mental health nonprofit. I'm on the board. It's called Scatter Joy Project. And he was just telling me, he's like, yeah, man, I'm learning to do this thing. But the thing that I stood by the most is that my goal as a parent is to explore with my child.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so wonderful. I feel like I need to do better at that in marriage sometimes, but I think it's a great lesson. I think it's a great lesson for every relationship. Just be exploratory, be curious with somebody instead of like the wall you want to have up because you believe something different or they're doing something you don't like. Like, can I be more curious?
Yeah.
Can I get on the floor and like, let's figure out why that, why that flame is hot together, not just like slap them on the hand because they're going to touch it. I mean,
yes,
some kids are going to learn and you might need to slap them on the hand, but
and they're kids.
They want to be curious. And so can we stoke the flame of curiosity in our children? Can we stoke the flame of curiosity as a brand, right? As human beings, as adults. And I think that's something that I want to deeply become a student of with my clients, with children, with everybody, right? Can we become more curious with the people we're around?
Agreed. I agree.
It's just topic about, I'm like, oh my gosh, there was every topic.
I don't know. Yeah, we're on
like we went in the beginning.
Yeah.
Hey, I love it though. Joe came from a big family just like Luke did. And I would imagine with 5 younger siblings, you had some parenting type experience.
Oh, I've changed I hundreds of diapers under my belt.
You can fling it and do
I'm willing to get dirty here, but I've even dropped a few kids. I have to be honest.
I have too.
No shame. So we grew up and we're kind of a rowdy family, and I'm number 3, so a lot of diaper changes, a lot of babysitting. Somehow that fell on me and not my older siblings, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, that gives you great
grateful for it.
preparation.
He's like, I'm not bitter, whatever.
No. You guys have heard no
No
trauma
trauma.
in this podcast, in this live at all. I'm totally fine.
Be okay.
That's the thing, Luke, is like anybody that would, if they just like hopped on and never seen, they're like, oh, what a good looking guy. He's so like together and he's so well spoken. Yeah. He must have this perfect life. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's why I laugh.
Well, and isn't that isn't that what happens, especially on social right now? LinkedIn especially is like, I feel like I've got to be someone because I think some other people perceive me this way because I look at Raquel's or Jenny's or the average dude's profile and I see them this way. That is like the crappiest part about brand building is that most of the time our brand is our customers or people out there perceived value of us. And that kind of sucks.
It does.
Because I've got, I'm not just a business. I've got, church and I've got wife and I've got kids and we've got goats and we've got dogs and we've got, I like coffee and I like whiskey and I've like I've got a big life. And I like, and so you can't, on some level you can't compass that all inside of a brand, but we need to like balance the understanding of like building a brand. You're going to have to fight against the perspective of other people a little bit. And most of that fighting is just accepting, again, like we've already talked about. I'm just accepting who I am.
You just said it. There's so many things. And that's what I talk about because I do get people that go on my profile or meet me and they're like, I'm kind of confused with what your brand is. I'm like, well, I mean, why does my brand have
why
to
do
be?
you care?
I don't like to be in a box.
I'm like, I have a lot of interest. I love hip hop, but I love classical music,
Yes.
I love sports, but I also love the symphony or whatever. Like there's so much, like, I feel like I'm a walking oxymoron sometimes, like I'm just kind of, and so it's hard because so many people want me to like have to explain to them who I am. I'm like, I don't need to explain.
But I can't. I'm a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You know what
I would say, go ahead, Luke.
What you're about to say is gold.
Daniel, do you want this?
No, this is great. What I wanted is a lot of conversation, and that's exactly what we have. But y'all are making me think about the lunchroom, right? Remember back in high school, you walk in and you've got the jocks sitting over here, and you've got the skaters sitting over here, and you got the cool kids. But maybe you just want to sit at every table, right? Maybe you don't belong at one table.
All of them. I was that person.
Yeah, me too.
Exactly. I think that Jenny, which did you have a favorite lunchroom table? I know you went to homeschool like me at a certain point, but
no, I didn't.
Oh, did you not?
No.
I thought you finished early through homeschool, Mom.
I finished early. I graduated early just because I'm smart.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. But, I was also that person, though, that might have been a little nervous sitting down with somebody at the lunchroom because I'm like, I don't know that they're going to want me to sit here.
Yeah.
I've always been that people pleaser,
Yeah.
Like me?
Yeah.
Hey, guys, got an extra chair here?
Yeah.
I'm looking for a chair.
That was like radically my story from as early as I can remember. And it probably took to like midway, I think my senior year of college that I was finding like, whoa, what am I doing? Like I had a breakup and I was like, wait a second, I am solely trying to be what others want me to be. And it's exhausting.
It is.
Like I was like, okay, I got to be the athlete, and then I want to be the skater, and then I want to be the metalhead, and then I'm gonna go like I grew up in Philly, so I'm gonna go ball out and like rap and freestyle with these kids, and then like I played all these things, and I was listening to someone talk about this on a podcast recently, and they were like they felt guilty at some point. It's like, man, like I felt guilty that I was trying to be all these things, and I feel like, because of where I'm at now, I have to choose one of them.
Yeah.
And I think this is the beautiful
Rock. You don't have to choose.
That's right. And I think that's the beautiful actual reality of our life is please don't choose.
Yeah.
Please don't choose one avenue.
Yeah.
Be exactly from the way that I stand, like be exactly the way God created you. Just be exactly the way you were created. Lean into the things that bring you joy and continue to pursue those things, because that's where other people will start to look at you and go, wait, like, I want to do what you're doing. How are you doing that?
I think that is success, isn't it? Everybody tries to define success. It's ripping away everything that you're not and being exactly who you are. accepting that you don't know this, you don't know that, you might not be good at this. It is what it is.
Right.
It is what it
That's
is.
not my word for this year. You know how everybody has a word, and this
Yeah.
year my word was just be.
Oh,
Yeah.
amen.
Like, that's what it was. Just
Come
be.
on.
Like,
Just big.
Right. And nothing is as big as we make it. You know, we feel like we have to get that acceptance, or someone says something, or what do they think? At the end of the day, everything is small except for life and death, right, Luke? I mean,
I'm gonna die one day, and that's about the only.
but you're younger
only
than us, so you
definite-
got a little bit longer.
Yeah, no, I've got
You got a
some
little bit longer
years.
to go.
I've got some years, but it's the only definite, right?
Yeah.
We can find both sorrow and joy in that. But
that's right. And motivation and inspiration and there's beauty to be found in that sense of urgency to live our lives and not be chained to these, these roles or masks or whatever they are, right? That freedom. So that's what I wanted with this podcast. We're kind of landing the plane, but I wanted to bring y'all on because I said, you know what? This is a nice little mix of personalities and kind of commonalities and all that fun stuff. So thank you both for joining us today.
Yes, I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah. So
I did this because I was in a funk.
See?
So,
what an honor. Look at
great.
this.
I know this was so much fun. It's like,
Serendipitous.
Yes.
Exactly.
Good word. Rock, you rock. How about that? I mean, you probably heard that before, but we appreciate your energy and all the good things that you bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And Luke, cool hand Luke. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I'm telling you, insightful, very insightful, Luke.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very grateful for you all, and I'm actively learning in this process with
we are
each one
too.
of you.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Absolutely. Well, hey, y'all have a great day. And everybody that's watching, listen. Hey, Joe.
Are we jumping off? Like, do I jump off with you guys, or am I?
Yeah,
we'll just let you jump with us.
Together. We're gonna jump. Okay.
So hyperlink.
3, 2, 1.